Mineral Resource Minister Gwede Mantashe is delivering a keynote address at the launch of the Pan-African Resources Mining Group's Elikhulu Tailings Retreatment Project and First Gold Pour. The event is underway in Mpumalanga. Let's go live.
A better department, a different department, a corrupt-free department, and it's a very uphill ambition that we have set for ourselves. Banbonga bakoyo apa, everybody who's present here today. Siyanithanda. Members of the media, everybody. If I've excluded you, it's not by intention. You are welcoming all of you. I think there is a special thank you to people who are beneficiaries of Pan-Africanist resources. We have a duty to follow those case studies. Sibabon, they must not just tell us good stories, because when we meet them, they must also tell us the challenges and the problems, what they have gone through. Because if you are on a road to success, you meet a very interesting stranger called failure. If you have not met that stranger, your resilience has not been tested fully. But if you go through that stranger called failure and you still continue to succeed, your resilience has been tested and you can rely on it. As we're celebrating 100 years of Mandela and Albertina Sulu, then there would be 100 years this year if they were allowed, if they were alive, and we continue celebrating them. Half the time when you celebrate these people, many people think that you are eulogizing them. That's a question of eulogy, writing their obituaries and cite their history. That's not the issue. We talk to these people so that we can recommit ourselves to continue working for the good and keep the values that they stood for as guiding us as of now. I will never be Mandela, I will never be Albertina Sulu, but there will always be a desire from every one of us to actually emulate the good work he did in his lifetime. Again today we're commemorating the Marikana massacre. What normally happens, people talk about Marikana massacre, they talk about 34 workers. And in that way, ignore the fact that at the point of that massacre, 10 workers were dead already. Among them, 2 policemen and 2 security guards. And sometimes the 10 becomes too small to be recognized and only focus on the 34. So the massacre is a commemoration of 44 lives that were lost. I don't know, Kobas, if you are following the analysis of the industry. I do that all the time. One of the things that has been reported as for this month is, for the first time in 4 months, mining has registered growth in production. 2.8% growth in production, first time in 4 months. We declined all the time in the previous 3 months. We have registered 2.8% growth for the first time in 4 months now. And that is going with a growth in sales, meaning that in revenue of the industry has grown by 12%. Now, when I see those results, I look into the elements of it. Gold, where you are, contributed 19% decline. So when we register 2.8% growth in mining, it means we've grown by 21.8%. Because if you remove the 19% decline of gold mining, would have done much, much better. And that has made me to always tell people that one of the biggest mistakes that we've been committing in South Africa is to equate mining to gold mining. Mining is mining, it's broad. I've been a mine worker in 3 minerals. I was a gold miner, fired after 6 months for some offense called troublemaking. So I left gold mining. I thought that gold mining is too troublesome. I mined copper, I mined coal. Those are comfortable minerals, nice, mechanized, comfortable. When you walk underground, you walk as if you are in town, you walk straight. It doesn't happen in gold mining. So that is the difference. So we must begin to actually invest in the growth sectors of mining as well. Gold is old. This area used to have 4 gold mines, this area. Vangelak, Bracken, Kinross, Leslie. This area. They belong to Janko. Today is Pan-African Resources that is here, beginning to clean the mess that they left behind. And by opening this project, he is also beginning to mop up the mess he was creating in Evander. Because this project and many other projects, I hope, that will follow, because we'll have to clean all these tailings in the area. I would imagine that they will continue creating employment in the first place. More than that, create value. One of the things that is never said when people are laid off, we always talk about workers and lay off. We never talk in details about the fact that when you lay off a number of people, you are reducing the consumption of products. In other words, you are impacting negatively on the economy. Even before you talk to the individual workers who are retrenched, you retrench a number of workers, you reduce the buying power in the area by that number, and therefore reduce consumption, therefore impact negatively on the economy. But the time lag between that retrenchment and the actual impact on the economy is a bit longer that people never notice. That's a very important analysis that is always necessary. Evander used to be a nice, beautiful, clean town, very clean. If you want to go to for shopping, you go to Evander. Even better than more than Secunda. Secunda followed and took over as the gold mine was declining. All I'm emphasizing is that as you open these opportunities, you are not only creating work opportunity, you are also adding consumption of goods in the economy and therefore contribute positively to the economy of the town. It's local, but that local is important for the national, because national economy is locals knitted together. Then they constitute the national. So we're hoping that as you have your first gold pour, you're going to make a big contribution in gold production and therefore impact positively on the production of mining. Now, I want to emphasize this because mining is a very unfortunate industry. I love it. I spent 31 of my prime life in it. That's about all I know. I'm back here now. The only difference is that, Those were my bosses. I'm now their minister. And I make them feel it, that the minister has now arrived. Dr. Blaine Zimande, they say that is propaganda of mine workers and ex-mine workers. There's no sunrise industry there. You only see that this industry is an industry that will be here for a long time when you begin to break it into minerals. See, gold is declining. It has been mining for over 130 years. Obviously, it's a finite industry. When you mine, you don't mix water and syrup and produce gold. You have to mine it and it gets finished. And therefore, the decline in gold mining is a reflection of the length of time that we've been in gold mining. But if you want to see it wholly, look at platinum. It has contributed a growth in the production this time of 19%. 19%. And it is in trouble because the price of platinum is low. Number two, the demand for platinum is low. But it contributed immensely. And all we are saying is that with the exchange rate at this point in time, everybody is complaining that the rand is weakening, is bad for the country and so forth. I always whisper and say, but it is good for mining. It may be bad for the economy, but it's good for mining. Because mining exports and you sell your products in dollars and you earn them in rands. So for every dollar you get more rands. So when it is weaker, it helps the gold mining to survive and mining in general to survive. But what you should do is to keep that money as a biltong for difficult days that will come when it strengthens. Mining is not having that track record. When there is money, they spend it as if it's out of fashion. When it is not there, they complain that things are bad. Now, when things are good, keep the reserves growing, grow those reserves for dry days that are coming. They will always come with mining. Every commodity price is cyclical. Goes up and down, goes up and down, it goes up and down. So you don't celebrate forever in mining. That's why it is a long-haul industry. If you're a speculator, keep away from mining. You can't speculate in mining. If you want to speculate, go to gambling. Because you fuck rand there, you put a rand in there, you take it out, you win. The likelihood is that it will swallow even what we want and finish it. Then if you're speculating, go there. Not mining. Mining, you throw your money in it and throw it for a long time. It gives you money further down there. So I always advise people who want to come to mining not to be in a rush, but to put money and wait for the money. Yeah. There's an advert by one of the companies who are investors. It says, money didn't fall on your laps. Money doesn't fall on your laps. Money, you work hard for it, you earn it, and therefore you must look after it. So the young business people are emerging, who are beneficiaries. I can give you one advice. Don't get your first beautiful check and buy a German sedan. Continue driving a buggy. When you develop your business, you will have time in the future when you have money to buy a German sedan. So that is my advice to all of you young business people, because young people get excited, he gets the first dividends, he buys a Cayenne, and he put double exhaust, and he revs it loud, prow, 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 prow. I'm advising you against that. The last time we talked, Cobus, there was a group of workers who were retrenched here. That is what I called, what is this mess that you are creating in a vendor? Okay. That's how I talk. I've asked to be taken to a course in diplomacy. And somebody told me that I will fail it in any way and advised me not to even waste my time. I say things as I see them, as I meet them. Kobas, what is the mess that you are creating in a vendor? Okay. And you were so cool, and you took me through painfully and said, no, this is what we're going to do and so forth. First phase is here. I must remind you, you said you are ramping up production in the underground operations and other points and so forth. And my appeal is that as you do that, please do absorb back some of the workers who are retrenched, please. Because their fathers, their mothers, their brothers, they are breadwinners, they are everything. Please absorb some of them as you ramp up your production. It doesn't matter where it is. Bring them back, let them work. Your contribution in the local economy must make a difference. I have seen few people who are praising you. Now, I say teachers, principals, everybody, thank you very much. And I want to remind you, every time a person say thank you, if we have given them 10 more minutes, they would say, we need more of this and this and this. Just be prepared for the more demand that will come with the success. Success creates more demands, and you must manage that space. So your contribution in the local economy must make a difference. If it does, you'll be the darling of the area. You know, as we're discussing the charter, we're fighting with the mining industry. I hear you have 30% already, 30% partnership, which is what we want the industry to move to. But half the time we say to them, one big fight, 5% free carry for workers, 5% free carry for communities. And the industry say, that is money for no value. One time one CEO told me this. And I had to take him through the basics and said, what do you mean by no value? No value. What do you mean? And I had to take him through the basics and say, you know, shareholders can give you money as the CEO and say, here is the money. The only people who will convert that into wealth is a working person. It is the working person who go underground, drill the rock, charge up, blast, hoist, and once he has done that, that investment becomes wealth. So it can be of no value for workers to convert your investment into wealth. Communities, you must coexist with communities. If you are coexisting with communities, you won't have tires burning at the end of your company, because your contribution is known, the company, the community appreciate, and so forth. And I think as the mining industry is forced to modernize, because it is going to, it must begin to be ahead of pressure. Now, I have hope when I see a young CEO like you, Cobus, so at least that change is going to happen. You see, I can tell you when you have gray beards like me, change is frightening. I don't know if there are people of my age here. They will tell you, change frightens old people like me. And you say, but what is it? We always associate change with loss. And it is good to have younger CEOs who will run and appreciate the need for change and lead it confidently. So if you bring those workers, it will be good. When you are doing good work, it doesn't make news. I can tell you, when you are retrenching, a few months ago, there were talk shows, phone-ins, and everything about you retrenching. Today you are having a gold pour. You have created new jobs. You are beginning to claw back the ground that was lost. I can tell you that there is not going to be any talk show about it. Nothing. There will be nothing. Because positive news are not making news. And that's why South African mining is having a bad name. It's because we're very loud about negative, we're very quiet about positive. When you open a plant like this, nobody pays attention. And it will be a one-liner in the news. One-liner, tomorrow it will be forgotten. There will be a lot of news talking about retrenchment in coal fields, retrenchment in Impala, and those go for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. But when I was asking them one time, I say, in a matter of 2 weeks, I cut ribbons in 3 mines in Mpumalanga, Baumatlang. Ribbons in new mines in Mpumalanga. One in Makazeni, 1 year, one in Witbank. No news. No news, no news. So in other words, for people who make news, there is one way, straight retrenching mine workers in numbers. When there is creation of other jobs that replace the lost jobs, nobody reports about that. So my appeal is that we must begin to talk positively about our industry. It's a good industry. It does make things happen, but we never say so. The rating internationally is a function of interviews of executives in the industry. If we say we are a group of people who do not know what they are doing, the Fraser Institute is going to rate us number 46 out of 91. And if you ask them, as I do, they will tell you that that's what your executives in the industry are saying. So, message. The last thing I want to talk is that if we want to improve the industry, we have a duty to ensure that there is ethical leadership, moral of leadership. See, if leadership is tainted, the industry sinks with that leadership. If the industry is led by ethical people who know the difference between right and wrong, who know that it is not about us individually, it's about me, it's about the good, it's about the other people, both in the sector and in the government and everywhere. I can tell you that the image of the industry will change, and the more consistent, when we start doing that in a country like ours, which is almost have gone through a very difficult period where everybody thinks that everybody smells corruption and all that. At first they will say it's a fluke. It will happen for 2 months. Mantashe will pick up, as in the battle for 2-3 months, and after 3 months he is going to steal. Only when we are consistent about not stealing the resources of society will our effort be respected. So the question of ethical leadership is so important for this industry, both in our part as government and on the part of leadership of the industry. Must be able to stand up straight, and people look at us and try to look for anything. They must not be able to dig dirt out of us, because we're opening up straight, upright, we're doing what is right. If I come here to be part of your first cold pour, I must not come to you at night and say, please, Coppers, can you throw $1 million to me? No, must not. Because fishes must not be thanked for swimming. You see, if a fish swims, that's the life of a fish. I don't need to be thanked because if we thank fishes, fishes will expect more. That is my appeal. If we do that, we're going to be a better industry, we're going to be respected, and will attract investment back. Thank you very much.